Welcome to Ghostly Darken, your home for terrifying tales from the shadows. Tonight, we venture into the heart of Japan, where ancient folklore and modern encounters blur the line between reality and the supernatural. Get ready for 9 spine-chilling stories that will send shivers down your spine. Stay till the end, some of these tales might keep you up at night. Let's dive into the darkness. Story 1: The Woman in the Kimono. In a quiet village near Kyoto, an old innkeeper recalled an unsettling experience. One evening, a woman in a beautiful red kimono checked into the inn. She barely spoke and always kept her face hidden behind a delicate fan. The next morning, the innkeeper found her room completely empty, no signs of luggage, no sign she ever stayed. But the bed was cold and damp as if someone had been there all night. Later, he learned the inn was built on the site of an old samurai estate, and a woman in red had been executed there centuries ago for treason. Guests who stay in that room today sometimes report hearing soft footsteps and the rustling of silk late at night. Some even claim to feel a cold hand brushing against their shoulders as they sleep, leaving them too terrified to stay another night. Story 2: The Midnight Crying. In Tokyo, an office worker named Hiroshi moved into a cheap apartment. It was perfect for his budget, but every night at exactly 2 a.m., he heard faint crying. It wasn't coming from the neighbors. One night, he followed the sound to his own closet. When he opened it, the crying stopped, but there was a small, wet handprint on the inside of the door. Terrified, he moved out the next day. Locals later told him the apartment had a dark history involving a mother and her child who vanished without a trace. Hiroshi later discovered that others who lived there also experienced the same sounds and claimed to see a small child's shadow in the hallway. Some even heard a faint lullaby echoing through the apartment, a tune that would linger in their minds for days. Story 3: The Whispering Forest. Aokigahara Forest, also known as the Suicide Forest, is infamous for its eerie silence and dark energy. A group of friends decided to explore it during the day but got separated. One of them, Yuki, heard someone calling her name. She followed the voice deeper into the woods, only to find herself completely lost. When she was finally rescued, her friends swore no one had called her name. Some believed the forest's spirits lured visitors to their doom. Yuki also claimed to feel unseen hands tugging at her clothing as if something was trying to pull her deeper into the forest's shadows. People who visit often report hearing whispers in languages they don't understand and seeing fleeting shadows darting between the trees. Story 4: The Train Station Ghost. At a rural train station in Hokkaido, a station master shared a chilling story. Late one night, a train stopped unexpectedly, and a single passenger disembarked. The man's clothes were soaked as if he had just been in a river. He didn't speak but stared blankly ahead. The station master turned to help him, but when he looked back, the man was gone. Later, he learned a train had derailed in the area years ago, and several passengers had drowned. To this day, travelers sometimes report seeing ghostly figures boarding and exiting trains at odd hours, vanishing before their eyes. Some even hear faint, distant cries and the sound of water dripping, though the area is dry. Story 5: The Haunted Doll. A young girl named Hannah received a traditional Japanese doll as a gift. It had long black hair and a sweet face. Over time, the doll's hair seemed to grow longer, and Hannah's family began hearing whispers at night. They donated the doll to a temple, where the monks believed it was possessed by a restless spirit. The doll remains at the temple to this day, its hair still mysteriously growing. Some visitors claim to hear faint giggles or feel the doll's eyes following them as they walk by. There are even reports of the doll's head slightly tilting or its lips parting as if about to speak. Story 6: The Old Schoolhouse. In rural Japan, an abandoned schoolhouse is rumored to be haunted. A photographer named Kenji visited it for a project. As he took pictures, he noticed faint figures of children in the windows. When he developed the photos, the figures were clearer, pale, with hollow eyes. Locals say the school was closed after a fire claimed the lives of many students, and their spirits never left. Kenji later revealed that he felt an icy chill every time he pointed his camera toward the building as if something didn't want him there. Others who entered the school reported hearing faint laughter, the sound of desks being dragged, and even the smell of smoke lingering in the air. Story 7: The Shadow on the Road. A couple driving through the countryside late at night spotted a shadowy figure standing in the middle of the road. They stopped, but when they got out to check, no one was there. As they continued driving, the same shadow appeared in their rearview mirror, closer each time. They finally sped off, terrified. The area is known for ghost sightings linked to a tragic accident years ago. Later, the couple learned that the shadow often appears to warn drivers of sharp turns ahead where accidents have occurred. Some who ignore the warning claim to experience car trouble or feel an icy hand gripping the steering wheel. Story 8: The Spirit in the Ryokan. A couple stayed at a traditional ryokan, Japanese inn, for their honeymoon. Late at night, the husband woke up to see a woman in a white robe standing at the foot of the bed. She stared at him with empty eyes before vanishing. The next morning, the staff told them no one else had access to their room. The woman was believed to be the ghost of a maid who had taken her life there decades ago. Guests who stay in that room often report hearing soft humming or seeing a figure pass by the window even when no one is outside. Some even described waking up to find the sheets pulled tightly around them, as though someone had tucked them in. Story 9: The Cursed Well. In a small town, there's an old well believed to be cursed. A teenager named Akira dared to peek inside. He claimed to see his own reflection smiling back at him, even though he wasn't smiling. That night, he dreamt of falling into the well, and when he woke up, his pillow was soaked. Akira moved away soon after, but locals still warn people to avoid the well. Some say that anyone who gazes into the well too long starts experiencing nightmares and a strange compulsion to return to it. Others have reported hearing faint splashes or seeing their reflection blink when they haven't. That's all for tonight's journey into Japan's most chilling tales. If these stories gave you goosebumps, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Ghostly Darken for more eerie adventures. And remember, the next time you hear a whisper or feel a chill, it might not just be your imagination. See you in the next video, if you dare.